Hi everyone, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be my first the 2020 Booker Prize review video, and today we are going to talk about The Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi. If any of you have already read this book, please talk to me about it in the comments, especially about the ending. I really need to talk to somebody about the ending because I'm like, what happened? Let's talk about the book. My overall impression of this book is that I enjoyed it. I think it is a well-written book. I enjoyed the writing style. I enjoyed the language of this book, like, you know, how it was written. I liked the idea and I appreciate what the author was trying to do with it. However, I feel like this book is maybe too short. It should have been longer, and if it had been longer, it would be brilliant. It would be so good, but it is quite a short book. It's just 230 pages. With everything that the author was trying to do here, I feel like it's too short, because there are a lot of kind of themes and topics that she was trying to explore here, and all of them together is such a brilliant idea. I thought it was so interesting, but I just wanted for certain parts in here to be explored more. So that's why I cannot say that it's an absolutely extraordinary book. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I quite like it, and I so much like the idea and what the author wanted to do, but I feel like it's just, with everything, it should have been longer. Certain parts here felt very rushed, and I often found myself I didn't really understand our protagonist, even though the story is told from her perspective. We are practically in her head, and she is kind of thinking about everything that is going on, and she is remembering her past with her mother. Even with that, I still cannot say that I often understood her. To my feeling, the way I feel it, it's just that not enough was shown to me to fully understand how she feels. But let me first talk about the plot without spoilers, but I will still mention certain plot points. However, I don't think that they're spoilers, because it's not so much about what happens, it's about how she reacts to it and how she feels about it. So that's why when I mention certain things that happen in the book, there aren't any aha moments, or at least there weren't any aha moments to me. So that's why I do not really feel like those are spoilers, because they're also quite logical. So I guess you could kind of guess. The book starts with Antara. So Antara is our main protagonist. She is the daughter. The book starts with her acknowledging that she derives pleasure in seeing her mother suffer. So practically what she literally goes, I would be lying if I said my mother's misery has never given me pleasure. Her mom is slowly losing her memories, and Antara is trying the best she can to take care of her mom. She is trying to make her remember. She tries to take care of her as much as she can. She even starts studying on the internet about the people with Alzheimer and why Alzheimer happens and what particular processes in the body can cause it. So she really tries to kind of help her mom. She really is trying to protect her and make things better and take care of her. However, the relationship between these two are very tense, and they have always been very tense. The book is told in two timelines, so our present timeline and the past timeline, where Antara talks about her mom's youth and everything that happens to the two of them. So, and you can see in the present timeline that they don't really get along very well. They argue a lot. Her mom often calls her a liar. Antara herself, she's like, how dare, like, how can you call me a liar? Like, what about yourself? I cannot tell that she despises her mother. It's kind of, you know, it's the relationship of attraction and at the same time of kind of detachment and not understanding each other. So it's like this torn relationship and torn feeling. In her youth, her mom was a very rebellious young woman who was very strong-headed, I guess. She was very independent, and she was kind of, I don't know, just the story, it gave me a feeling that she was kind of looking for something and she could never find it. So Antara's mother, her name is Tara. So that's how Tara's mother describes her daughter when she was young. So she's talking to Antara. So, your mother was a strange girl. No one knew what she wanted out of life. I guess nothing has changed. Nobody understands Tara. Nobody knows what she wants, and maybe Tara herself never knew what she wanted. But she was always kind of this rebellious person. As a teenager, she would often skip school and she would go to this like restaurant out of town where she would order like a beer and she would just drink the beer from like the whole glass, and she would be talking to foreigners who arrived in the city to kind of join this ashram. She would talk to them, she would kind of catch a ride back home. So she was, I don't know, just guess exploring people. I don't know what she was doing. She was also always wearing white dress. That's also what her mom said, that she looked like an old lady in that white dress. Funnily enough, her mom mentioned like she has never had anybody die, and I guess in this city like white dress is a mourning dress. But she has never been wearing this, what's it called, I forgot, dupatta. She has never been wearing dupatta. And then Antara asks her grandmother, like, what is dupatta, like, why do you have to wear it? And her grandma says that a dupatta is your honor. So by not wearing a dupatta, I guess you can see that Tara, when she was young, she didn't really care what anybody thought of her. She didn't really care about her honor. She was just, I guess, looking for something which she couldn't find. Later on, Tara gets married to a man, to like a young man. They just met somehow. A marriage was arranged very fast. They got married. In 1 year, Antara was born. Because the relationship between Tara and her mother-in-law was very tense, and I guess relationship, she didn't probably love very much her husband, she leaves the house to join this ashram, and she starts living with this like priest. He's like the main figure in this ashram. Everybody is kind of very devoted to him, everybody prays to him. He's practically like a god in that place. And so she starts living with him, and she practically forgets everything about her daughter. Her daughter is left to care by a woman. Her name was Kalimata, and the woman practically like not raised her because it wasn't long enough, but she was kind of replacing this mother figure for Antara for the time while her mother was with that man. But we see that throughout the book, throughout the childhood, like Antara often mentions how she longed for her mother, how she craved her mother, how she really wanted to be next to her. In this ashram, when she couldn't meet her mother, she would stop eating and drinking and just like ask for her mother. At some point she even lost her conscience and fell. So that's how abandoned she felt, I guess. So she was really craving for her parent. And so basically throughout the book you can really notice that the relationship between the daughter and the mother has always been that of attraction and kind of wanting to be together and kind of loving each other, but at the same time not understanding each other, not accepting each other. Because you will even see like Tara talking to Antara in the future and telling that you have always been strange, I never understood you. But at the same time, sometimes you see that she really loved her daughter and she cared about her. She has never been a great mother. She didn't really like showed much affection or care, but sometimes you can see that she really does kind of love her daughter, and she also kind of craved for her. So this relationship of like misunderstanding, not fully accepting each other, not like always like talking honestly to each other, this is the relationship between this mother and the daughter. So on one hand, and I guess primarily, this book is about this relationship between mother-daughter relationship. But on the other hand, I feel like maybe it would be even a more important part of this book is how our parents are actually a very important part of who we are. How so much, if not the biggest part of our identity, is actually formed through our relationship with our parents. How permanent this connection between parents and children are, and how deeply it affects our lives, or at least that's how this book felt to me. So that like it's just at least what I saw in there, because in this book like we also see Antara's relationship with her husband, which is also flawed and difficult and doesn't go very smoothly. We also see her as an artist and the art that she creates. We also saw her as a student when she was studying in university, not university, like a college, like an art college in Bombay, and like her development as an artist and her outlook on art and what she wants to do with it. And you often see how much it is dependent on her mother, like how she often thinks about her mother in connection, like when she meets men or when she creates art. At the end of the novel, Antara becomes a mother herself, and then this topic of motherhood gets introduced to the novel. But it happens in the very beginning, and this is what I am saying. I wanted certain parts, like her relationship with her husband and this motherhood topic, to be explored more, because it's just slightly touched upon. It's just it's a very little bit talked about, just hinted at, especially like kind of motherhood, not necessarily hinted at, it's mentioned, it's talked about, but just so briefly and so shortly, and I feel like it was not enough. I wasn't shown enough. Another topic that is also in this book is the topic of memory, and how our memory is unreliable, how our memories are often formed by what we have imagined but by what other people told us, and how certain people can have different memories about certain events. And this topic of memory, this definitely was just hinted at. This was just very shortly, very briefly touched upon, but it is so fascinating. This is so interesting, and I would so much love it to be explored more, and it wasn't. I guess it's understandable, because primarily this book is about a mother and a daughter in relationship, but then again I would love the topic of motherhood in the end, and the topic of her relationship with her husband to be explored more. Like, for example, her relationship with her husband. I cannot say that I understood their relationship very well. Like from the very beginning, when she talks about how she met him, I didn't really understand why they decided to get married on the first place. Like, she mentioned that he told her that he liked how bohemian she looked, because she's an artist, so he's like, you looked very artistic and very bohemian. And also another point, he liked that she didn't have any body odors. And I'm like, this is a little bit strange reason to marry a person just because he or she doesn't smell. Like, I don't know, but this is not enough good reason for me to decide to spend your whole life with a person. So from the very beginning, I didn't really understand why they decided to marry and be together. In the beginning, everything was kind of okay. Like, there wasn't any particular passion between them, or like any particular affection between them, at least like I haven't noticed. But everything was kind of fine. But then one thing happens, the relationship gets worse, and like, to me, like, it wasn't, I guess, like a big enough problem for the relationship to deteriorate. I don't know, I didn't understand what was happening with this two. Like, I feel like I haven't seen enough. Everything was happening between them, like it was just kind of told to me, like, we are not talking, we haven't been talking for a long time, or something like that. And I'm like, why haven't you been talking? Like, I feel like this relationship with her husband could have been explained better, and that's why I'm saying that this book needs to be longer, because these parts, everything that is not mother-daughter relationship, is very rushed, is very quick, is very brief, and it's just kind of told to me but not shown. At least that's how I felt. So yeah, these are my feelings about this book. Also, the ending, I don't want to tell you what happens, but if you read what happened in the end, like, I really don't understand. I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm very confused. So yeah, this book, I definitely enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. I feel like it's a very smart and a very intelligent book. The protagonist is a very interesting protagonist, and I wasn't bored. This book is definitely interesting and enjoyable. Not maybe enjoyable, but like it's gripping to read. So I liked it, but I cannot say that it's my favorite in general. Like, I cannot say that it's going to be like one of my favorite books of the year. It needed to be longer. It needed to be explored more, because all of these topics together, topic of parent-children relationship, how this relationship affects the whole life of a person, and all the sides of their personality and memories and motherhood topic, like all of this together is such an interesting book idea, such a brilliant book idea. And like I said, I like it so much, but I just wanted it to be explored more. This is written so well. It's just that, yeah, it needed, in my opinion, it needed to be longer, and it needed to be explored better and more deeply. So that's my feelings. Let me know in the comments what your feelings were about the book if you have read it. As for my next book, I am going to be reading The New Wilderness by Diane Cook. This is also about mother-daughter relationship, but in this like kind of futuristic world, I guess. People are living in these cities and everything is very polluted, and this girl, she is kind of slowly dying because of this pollution, and her mother decides to flee to this wilderness with a group of people, and they will start living somewhere in the woods. So something like this. I'm excited to give it a go. So this is going to be my next read. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I decided not to make the reading vlog because I feel like while I was reading this book, I didn't have like any particular like strong emotions worth filming. So that's why like I didn't do like the reading vlog, because I feel like there wasn't anything worth filming. So yeah, that's why this video is just a review. I hope you enjoyed, I hope it was interesting. I still recommend this book. Like I would recommend to read it. Just yeah, it could have been better in my opinion, but it's also a debut novel, so it's a debut. It's the first book of the author, and I'm sure that she's going to be a brilliant author in the future. So I will definitely be looking out for her other books, for her next books. I think this is a good debut. Yes. That's it. Could be better in my opinion. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a very good day, staying safe, and I will see you soon in my next videos. Thank you very much. Bye.